Okay, so this clip is creating the new project. So as you can see, I've already opened up the application of Asta Powerproject, and it's taken me to the grey screen you can see here. So to create a brand new project, we go to File from the pull-down menu, and we go to New. You can see we're looking at Recent currently, so any projects that you have been using will be showing in here, and so you can jump to them very quickly. If you haven't used Powerproject before, of course, then that will be empty. So we're going to go down to New. This then shows a number of templates which you're able to use when using Powerproject. The one we're going to use today is the construction template, and for most of the time you'll be using the construction template for any job that you do, but as you can see there are other templates there to suit different purposes. The one we're going to use though, as I said, is the construction template. Over on the right hand side we now type in the name of our project. This is the actual file name that we would search for if we were looking for this particular project at a later time. So we're going to call this one New Project. We have a browse button so you can browse and look for the location for your S drive or the Z drive or wherever you need to keep your projects. By default it will save it onto your C drive, My Documents, Asta Powerproject and Projects. Might be a little bit different on here, but yours will be saving it most probably onto My Documents. You then have the information which will be printing or printed at the top of your printout. So the title we have here and titled currently, we're just going to change that to New Project. So when it prints out, that's what we'll see at the top. Who's it for and who's it by will also display at the top on your printout. So if you put it in there, you'll be able to see it on the printout. If you don't, then you won't. So it's your choice. We also have a start date. Now, if you have a start date for your program, you click on the drop down and you can choose it from here. If you don't have a start date, you can just leave it as today's date and then change it at a later time. And that's something worth to keep in mind, that once you've created a project and you've got it linked, etc., and then you're then given a different start date, you can change the start date of your project whenever you like, and then when you press the reschedule button, the project will recalculate itself and move to that new start date, whether it's forward in time or backwards in time. So you're not necessarily stuck with the start date that you start with. We then have the username and password. Now we're not going to be using this today. You would use that on an enterprise version of Powerproject where you've got multiple people or project managers all using this system at the same time. We're not looking at that today, so we'll leave that as username of admin, and then the password we just leave blank. So to create the new project, once you've filled out the information, you click on Create. Okay, so that will then start your new project. You can see that we've got a number of screens which have opened up in front of you. Now if you haven't used Powerproject before, you'll have this area down the bottom of your screen. Now this is a very useful area when you're actually using the project. We won't discuss it at the moment, we're just going to close it down, but suffice to say, when you're interrogating your project, whether it's through tasks, coding, chasing link logic through a very large program, this becomes invaluable. But for the time being, we're just going to close this down. And we're going to close it just by clicking on the little drawing pin you can see here, which is pointing down. If you click it, that just drops this down to a bar and task properties button in the left-hand corner of your screen. If you hover over it like I've done here, it'll pop back up again. If I move away from it, it will then just drop back down. And we can discuss that perhaps on a future clip. So we're now presented with three areas to the project. We can go onto the very edge of each of these panes and move them around. So we have the table area and we have the bar chart area. And of course we also have the project view. The project view is an excellent navigational tool when using the project. You can move around your structure when it's built inside here. We have permanent resources, consumable resource cost centers, so we can see each of these by clicking on little plus symbols, and we'll be able to talk about those on some future clips. We have the table area in the middle here. New columns can be added to that, and again we'll see that in future clips, and we then have the bar chart. And to start your new project, you start typing into the cells here, and the project will then appear on the right hand side. We also have a scalable date zone at the top. By clicking on the little red tag marks, we can squash the area down. So you're looking at 2015, 2016, or you can stretch it right the way up if you're doing short-term programs and just look at a few weeks worth, like so.